I'm Muhammed Hamdan and Nightline begins now. The top stories. SRC case, Apex Court rejects Datuk Seri Najib's final appeal. And more than 4,000 medical officers absorbed into permanent position. Good morning. Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak's main appeal to set aside his conviction and sentence in the 42 million ringgit SRC International Sdn Bhd case will be heard on Thursday. This followed the decision of the Federal Court's 5-member panel led by Chief Justice Tun Tengku Maimun Tuan Mat in dismissing the former Prime Minister's application to postpone the hearing of his appeal. This is Datuk Seri Najib's final appeal after a 3-man bench of the Court of Appeal on December 8th last year upheld the Pekan Member of Parliament's conviction and sentence in relation to the SRC case. In delivering the court's decision, Tun Tengku Maimun ruled that requests for postponement made by Datuk Seri Najib's lead counsel, Hisham Teh Pohdek, for a period of at least 3 to 4 months simply because they were not ready to proceed, was unanimously refused. This, as Article 8 of the Federal Constitution and the rule of law demand that the appellant be treated just like any other accused. She also made it clear that justice delayed is also justice denied to other accused persons who are waiting their turn for their appeals to be heard. Tun Tengku Maimun also pointed out that the fixing of the dates of the appeal has been known from as far back as the case management in April, which is some 4 months ago. She also stressed that the court had no less than 4 times reminded the parties that the appeal would proceed as scheduled. She stressed that Datuk Seri Najib's decision to change counsel at the last minute was done with full knowledge of the date that had been fixed for hearing. Earlier, the Apex Court unanimously rejected Datuk Seri Najib's application to adduce new evidence in his SRC case to nullify the trial that saw him sentenced to 12 years in jail and a fine of 210 million ringgit. The additional evidence that the Pekan MP was seeking to adduce relates to the recent discovery that the trial judge, Datuk Muhammad Nazlan Muhammad Ghazali, in 2006 was the General Counsel and Company Secretary for Maybank Group, who had the ultimate overall responsibility for the management and administration of all legal departments within the entire group. Datuk Seri Najib's lawyers had argued that the new evidence was crucial to bolster their case as it pertains mainly to allegations of bias and conflict of interest involving the trial judge. However, when delivering the court's decision, Tun Tengku Maimun said there was no nexus between Datuk Muhammad Nazlan's previous bank job and Datuk Seri Najib's charges. She also said that the court disagreed that there would be a miscarriage of justice if the application was dismissed before ordering for the main appeal to proceed. Datuk Seri Najib was convicted by Datuk Muhammad Nazlan on July 28, 2020 on 7 charges of abuse of power and misappropriation of 42 million ringgit of SRC international funds. And when met by reporters after the proceedings, Datuk Seri Najib said he was shocked and bitterly disappointed with the Apex Court's ruling.
I am shocked and bitterly disappointed with the decision of the judges not to allow me to adduce additional evidence. I believe the additional evidence will clearly indicate that Justice Nazlan was heavily conflicted.
The 69-year-old politician changed his legal team just 21 days prior to the appeal by appointing Hisham as his lead counsel and law firm Zaid Ibrahim Suflan T.H. Liu and Partners as his new defence team. On July 26, Datuk Seri Najib discharged with immediate effect Messrs. Shafi & Co., led by his longtime counsel Tan Sri Muhammad Shafi Abdullah, from representing him in his final appeal. Datuk Seri Najib is currently out on bail of 2 million ringgit in 2 sureties, pending the appeal. Moving on, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob has called on the civil servants to defend the government against any allegation and slander that claim the government under his administration has failed. The Prime Minister said the government of the day is a joint government which emphasises the Keluarga Malaysia concept so that the civil servants can work as one family.
Mempertahankan kerajaan bukan mempertahankan parti politik. Apabila tuan-tuan dan puan mempertahankan apa yang saya sebutkan tadi, menyebarluaskan apa yang saya sebutkan tadi, tuan-tuan tidak berpolitik. Jangan lihat saya sebagai pemimpin parti politik, tetapi lihat saya sebagai ketua kerajaan. Dan tuan-tuan lah, perempuan lah anggota kerajaan. Tolerate lagi. Jangan harga ayam.
Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said this at a meeting with the staff of the Prime Minister's department in Putrajaya on Tuesday. He also said that he wanted the civil servants to work together because all of them have shared responsibilities instead of working in silos, which will cause failure to any action or plan. For the country's economy to improve, the Prime Minister also wanted civil servants to reduce bureaucracy towards investors, which he said was often raised by the group during his visits abroad. The Health Ministry MOH has approved 4,053 out of 8,672 initial applications for permanent positions involving contract medical and dental officers and pharmacists for this year. Its Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said the approval comprised 3,215 medical officers, 438 dental officers and 400 pharmacists, while 225 candidates were on the standby list.
Selepas ini kita akan ada sekurang-kurangnya 1,500 jawatan tetap setiap tahun yang akan kita tawarkan, yang akan kita menawarkan kepada pegawai-pegawai kontrak. Kita akan tentukan dasar nanti selepas bincang dengan SPA sama ada mereka yang tidak berjaya boleh memohon semula ataupun tidak, reapply ataupun tidak tahun depan.
Khairi said this at a press conference after appearing as a panel member at a dialogue session held in conjunction with the 2022 Health Policy Summit in Kuala Lumpur on Tuesday. He added that this was the highest addition of permanent positions since 2016 following the implementation of the contract policy. He also said the MOH will also look at a suitable model to determine whether a health service commission should be established by law or administratively. The matter would be discussed during the drafting process of the Health White Paper, which is expected to be tabled in Parliament at the end of the year. Meanwhile, Khairi said that his ministry was targeting at least 10 million Malaysians to remain healthy in the next 10 years. He said the target was among the key areas in the Health White Paper in terms of service quality.
Kita ambil angka tersebut sebab melalui perkiraan kasar kita, sejumlah 1 juta rakyat Malaysia jatuh sakit setiap tahun disebabkan penyakit-penyakit yang sebenarnya dapat dielakkan.
Elaborating on the matter, he said the target meant that 10 million Malaysians would not be referred to hospitals due to diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, high cholesterol and so on. On Monday, Khairi said the Health White Paper should be the country's collective statement of intent on how it can make the health system more sustainable and resilient through a whole-of-government and a whole-of-society mindset. It also needed to be studied in detail in terms of governance to create measures to ensure that health services can be implemented more efficiently. The International Trade and Industry Ministry, MITI, has formed a Sustainable Aviation Energy Task Force to reduce carbon footprint in the aerospace industry. Senior International Trade and Industry Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Azmin Ali said the task force will provide policy recommendations and coordinate the implementation of public-private partnerships at the national level, including the production of sustainable aviation fuel or SAF in Malaysia.
Ya, ini satu task force baru hasil maklum balas daripada pihak industri untuk melihat bagaimana public and private sectors boleh mewujudkan satu jalinan kerjasama bagi membangunkan dan juga menjajarkan dasar-dasar aeroangkasa negara yang melibatkan pemain-pemain tempatan dalam industri aeroangkasa ini. Ini bertujuan supaya matlamat SAF itu dapat dicapai kerana kita mahu sustainable aviation fuel ini dapat menjadi matlamat untuk satu jangka masa yang telah ditetapkan. Ini juga adalah selaras dengan ESG.
Speaking at the MyAero 2022 opening ceremony, he said Malaysia aims to pioneer aerospace industry by using green technology towards clean and healthy environment. The task force comprised members from the government and private sector, including Malaysia Aviation Group, AirAsia and Petronas. Last year, the industry recorded 104.7 million ringgit worth of investments, a total trade of 13.84 billion ringgit and revenue of 12.2 billion ringgit. The cost of electricity tariff adjustment through the imbalance cost pass-through ICPT mechanism from the period of July to December 2022 is estimated to reach almost 20 billion ringgit. Energy and Natural Resources Minister Datuk Seri Taqiyuddin Hassan said the amount was 3 times higher than the 7 billion ringgit cost recorded from January to June this year.
Dalam hal ini, kos ICPT bagi tempoh Januari sehingga Jun tahun 2022 untuk makluman Dewan Yang Mulia ini adalah berjumlah 7 bilion ringgit Malaysia. Yang mana dengan jumlah ini, sepatutnya kos ini dilepaskan kepada semua pengguna TNB sebanyak 9.4 juta akaun TNB ini sebanyak surcharge 11.81 sen per kilowatt jam.
Datuk Seri Taqiyuddin said this during the question and answer session at the Dewan Negara on Tuesday. He added following this, the government was taking a cautious approach and was looking into ways to address the issue, including through the provision of targeted energy subsidies in the future. The government also planned to increase the share of renewable energy in its installed capacity to 31% in 2025 and 40% in 2035. A former managing director of Bustat Naval Shipyard Sdn Bhd BNS was charged in the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court on Tuesday with 3 counts of criminal breach of trust (CBT). The charges involved 21.08 million ringgit of the company's funds for the construction of littoral combat ships (LCS) for the Royal Malaysian Navy (RMN). 78-year-old Tan Sri Ahmad Ramli Muhammad Noor, who is also a former Navy chief, pleaded not guilty to all the charges which were read out before Judge Susanna Hussein. On the first charge, he was alleged to have committed CBT by approving a payment amounting to 13,541,140 ringgit to the account of Syarikat Sataria Holding Limited without the approval of the BNS Board of Directors. For the second charge, he was alleged to have approved payment amounting to 1,360,716 ringgit to the account of JSD Corporation, also without the approval of the company's board of directors. Tan Sri Ahmad Ramli was also charged with committing a similar offence by approving a payment amounting to 6,182,295 ringgit to the account of Syarikat Susmarine Armada Limited. All the offences were allegedly committed at Menara Bustat in Jalan Raja Chulan between July 26, 2010 and May 4, 2011. The 3 charges framed under the Penal Code provides an imprisonment for up to 20 years and whipping, and is liable to fine if found guilty. The court granted Tan Sri Ahmad Ramli bail amounting to 500,000 ringgit with a paid surety of 200,000 ringgit for all charges. The judge then set November 24th for mention. The accused paid the bail. Last Thursday, the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC) announced that it had completed its investigation against a number of individuals linked to alleged irregularities in the handling of the LCS construction project. Sources said that more individuals were expected to be charged in court in connection with the LCS project. In the meantime, Datuk Sri Hishamuddin Tun Hussein said the proposal to establish a Royal Commission of Inquiry (RCI) to investigate the construction of the Littoral Combat Ships (LCS) project for the Royal Malaysian Navy (RMN) will be presented to the Cabinet on Wednesday. The senior Defence Minister also assured that he would present the proposal himself to get the Cabinet's approval on the matter.
Selepas perbahasan kita hari ini, saya sendiri akan bawa ke Kabinet bahawa ini pandangan. Bukan semua, ada ahli yang berhormat yang tak setuju. Tetapi ini tanggungjawab saya untuk bawa kepada Kabinet hari Rabu ini dan saya akan lakukan.
When winding up the debate on the motion related to the LCS issue in the Dewan Negara on Tuesday, Datuk Sri Hishamuddin added that the Cabinet also needed to present the proposal to set up the RCI to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. He also said that based on the Cabinet's decision in April, his ministry will continue the LCS project for the benefit of RMN. US monkeypox cases on sharp rise. This and more right after this breather. Don't go away. We're back with news from the foreign front. Monkeypox cases in the United States have kept climbing rapidly, topping over 11,000 cases, while media and experts have been blaming the Biden administration's response to contain the outbreak. According to the latest data from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, a total of 11,177 monkeypox cases had been reported across the country as of Friday, with New York having the most cases with 2,295, followed by California with 1,945 and Florida with 1,085. So far, the U.S. has the world's highest tally of monkeypox cases. Since the CDC confirmed the first monkeypox case in Massachusetts, a series of setbacks in the Biden administration's response to addressing monkeypox has allowed the disease to gain a foothold in the country. The setbacks include clunky early testing protocols, slow vaccine distribution, a lack of federal funding to help state and local governments respond to the outbreak, and patchy communication with communities most affected by the virus. Epidemiologists, public health officials and doctors are warning that the U.S. government is running out of time to stop the virus from spreading among the U.S. population. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has accused his predecessor Scott Morrison of undermining the country's democracy after it was discovered that he had secretly appointed himself to additional ministerial roles during the COVID-19 pandemic. After a review of the issue by the Prime Minister's department, Albanese on Tuesday revealed that Morrison had taken on the health and finance portfolios in March 2020, resources in April 2021, and home affairs and treasury in May 2021. Following the revelation, Albanese said he had asked the country's Solicitor General to advise him on whether Morrison's actions, which he called a shadow government, were legal, as Morrison was open to laws that would require public disclosure when a minister is sworn into a portfolio. In the meantime, Morrison, in a lengthy statement, defended his actions, taking on extra ministerial roles without his cabinet's knowledge during the COVID-19 pandemic, saying it was an unprecedented time and he had acted in good faith in a crisis. Morrison has also come under fire from senior members of his own party and its coalition partner, the National Party, who have said they were not aware of the arrangements. In Pakistan, at least 20 people were killed when a bus caught fire after colliding with an oil tanker while allegedly racing two other coaches. According to officials, the accident occurred on the outskirts of the central city of Multan, while the bus was bound for the southern port city of Karachi. Describing the incident, police said while the three buses were racing, one of the buses packed with passengers rammed into the back of a tanker on a motorway near the central city of Multan in Pakistan. The crash then triggered a fire that engulfed both the tanker and the bus, claiming 20 lives, including the bus driver, while injuring 6 other people. It was reported that the tanker's driver fled the scene. Sports tennis, the Western and Southern Open. Andy Murray bounced back from a poor performance at the Montreal Masters as he saw off Stanislaw Wawrinka in a first-round battle of the seniors. 35-year-old 7-year-old rival Wawrinka in 3 sets, securing a 6-7, 7-5, 7-5 win after 2 hours and 58 minutes on court. Murray next faces fellow Brit Cameron Norrie for a place in the 3rd round. Norrie was also dragged to a 3-set battle by 19-year-old Holger Rune of Denmark. He emerged victorious after 2 hours and 34 minutes, claiming a 7-5, 4-6, 6-4 win. Also in the 2nd round was John Isner. The American overcame Frenchman Benjamin Bonzi 7-6, 3-6, 7-6. Earlier, Diego Schwartzman came from behind to beat Alex Molchan and seal a passage into the 2nd round. The 13th-seeded Argentinian was forced to battle hard before securing a 5-7, 6-4, 6-2 victory. Joining the group was Denis Shapovalov. The Canadian knocked out 16th seed Grigor Dimitrov of Bulgaria in straight sets 7-6, 6-3 to snap a 9-match losing streak. In the women's event, two-time Wimbledon champion Petra Kvitova saved a match point on her way to ousting last year's finalist Jill Teichmann in the opening round. Making her 11th Cincinnati appearance, Kvitova held on to prevail after 2 hours and 47 minutes, clinching a 6-7, 7-6, 6-3 win. Accompanying her in the second round was Amanda Anisimova. The American defeated the 9th seed Daria Kasatkina of Russia by straight sets 6-4, 6-4. Anisimova will face next either 2020 Australian Open champion Sofia Kenin or Shelby Rogers in the second round. Coming up after the break, 17 students injured as school van skids into roadside drain. Stay tuned. In Kedah, a girl sustained a broken arm while 15 other school children suffered minor injuries when the van they were travelling in was involved in an accident while on the way to school near Sungai Petani on Tuesday morning. A State Fire and Rescue Department spokesperson said the van driver also sustained a minor injury to his head in the 740 mishap at Taman Ru, Tikam Batu. It was believed that the incident occurred when the van suddenly skidded and crashed into a roadside drain. However, the children aged between 7 and 12 were able to get themselves out of the van as no one was pinned to their seat. All the injured victims were taken to the Sultan Abdul Halim Hospital, where they were given outpatient treatment. Kuala Muda Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Zaidi Sheikh Hassan said checks revealed that the insurance and road tax for the van had expired on March 9th this year. Initial investigations also showed that the 43-year-old driver did not doze off behind the wheel when he lost control of the vehicle. The cause of the accident is being investigated under the Road Transport Act. In Negeri Sembilan, the Rembau Magistrates Court on Tuesday fixed September 14th for mention of a drug case involving a Perodua Myvi driver who was believed to have caused an accident involving 5 vehicles on the North-South Expressway 2 months ago. Magistrate Kartini Kasran set the date as the chemist report on the case has yet been received by the court. The accused, Munze Azme Abdul Rahim, was present during the proceedings, accompanied by several individuals believed to be his family members. The 28-year-old man, who is unemployed, was charged with possession of dried plants suspected to be ganja, weighing 3.39 grams in the Myvi car on the highway in the Rembau district on June 5th. During his arrest at the scene of the accident, he was believed to be high on drugs, and upon checking, police found a transparent plastic packet containing the dried plants in his vehicle. The charge, framed under the Dangerous Drugs Act, provides for a fine not exceeding 20,000 ringgit or imprisonment not exceeding 5 years, or both, upon conviction. With almost 1 million spectators, the play Last Stroke of Scissors has been playing at the Théâtre des Mathurins in Paris for 11 years. Throughout the play, the audience will interact with the characters and lead the investigation in a hilarious game of Cluedo. Let's take a look at the unique play as we wrap up Nightline this time around. With that, I'm Muhammed, Ahmad, Hamdan. Thank you for tuning in and take care, Malaysia.